Welcome to the Nations Cup, everybody! So, we are finally here. The group stage is kicking off, and this is going to be an amazing event. We have $10,000 of prize money for this event, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Now, there's a couple of things that we, of course, immediately need to talk about. First things first, we have 28 teams, which is crazy. Honestly, when we started the Nations Cup and we opened the signups, we debated it internally a little bit, and 16 teams, I would have called it a win. Anything above 16, I was just like, that's actually quite strong. And then all of a sudden, it looked like we would get 20, then we had a few more teams signed up. All of a sudden, we had a UK team that signed up out of nowhere. A second UK team came in. UAE, Brazil, it was just crazy. And we ended up with 28 teams from 17 different countries, which obviously already tells you that each country was able to sign up multiple teams. So you can already see over here that we have Germany going up against Serbia. This is a best of 3 series, and heroes can only be picked once, which is quite important. We currently have 7 groups. Each group has 4 teams, and once that we're done with a full round robin in these groups, the first place out of each group will advance to the second phase of the tournament. So we're advancing 7 teams directly. The teams that place second within the groups, they still have a chance to advance as well, because we need an 8th team for our second phase. So there will be a little bit of a mini tournament, a mini qualifier for the best ones, and it's going to be pretty epic. So we're going to have lots and lots of fun here. When you're, by the way, seeing teams that have a number behind them, that just means that for this country multiple teams have signed up. We actually talked to the captains of the teams that signed up and asked them also to try and make a bit of a ranking of what they think are the strongest teams. So this is essentially how we determined who is Germany 1, Germany 2, Germany 3. So just on paper, all the teams that have a number 1 in there, they should be the strongest team from the country, but there's always upsets that can happen, and this is obviously just a guesstimate from people looking at the players or having experienced scrims, for example. Serbia has only signed up 1 team. There's an interesting little side note, though, a bit of a tidbit, because we have one player that some of the old schoolers amongst you might still remember here. We have Cope with them, who's also known as Last Hope. So if you have been part of HGC back then, you know that Last Hope was actually signed by Fnatic just at the end of HGC and was the new up-and-coming talent for them. Now, he hasn't, to my knowledge, completely throughout all this time continued to play the game, but it's still kind of interesting that somebody like him also came back for this and obviously put some training into it. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Serbia immediately coming in with Abathar and Urel, by the way. So this is already a win from my perspective. We get an Abathar in game number 1, which is awesome. Then on the side of the Germans, you have now Blaze. We get Hanzo, Brightwing. Just need to make sure that the Germans don't get the Panzer. So just keep Sergeant Hammer away from them. We all know what happens when the Germans get access to tanks. So a little bit careful around that. But we got Jimmy on the other side and Rhaegar now too, which leaves us with the captain, which is Last Hope for the blue team. But yeah, this should be pretty epic. And obviously Germany, they are one of the strongest teams in this specific group for sure. And we get a Vikings game. We have the first map of the tournament, and we get Abathar and the Vikings. Ooh, that's going to be a rough one. So we'll see how Serbia is going to deal with it. But yeah, this is going to get a bit wild over here. I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing tournament, and it's brilliant. Anubarak is the final choice. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're jumping into game number 1 of the best of 3 series. We are in Group A right now of the Nations Cup 2026. Game number 1, everybody. Team Germany going up against Team Serbia in our first match of the Nations Cup 2026. Over on the left side, this is where things are already getting spicy. We got the Vikings played by Hazorbs as Team Germany locked in the Dark Wolf on Teriel. We have Dino and Blaze rocking the side lane. Ultralisk is playing Hanzo, and then we got Death Knight playing Brightwing. Over to the right side of the map, it is Team Serbia, and these boys are coming out swinging here. Look at that. Exterminator on Reyna, played by Punisher. We got Vetman on Rhaegar on the support side. Freak is playing Abathar, and we're getting a reinforced Carapace here on level 1. Cope with an Ubarak, aka Last Hope, and we have Raptor on Urel. The German team, obviously the favorites, not only in the series here, but also when we're talking about the group. They're definitely one of the strongest teams that have signed up for the event here. Lots of prize money on the line, obviously. We now have the Vikings already trying to soak experience, while the rest of the team has started to jump onto the mercenary camps and grabs those quickly. Top side, that's where we have a Nubarak getting assisted by Abatha. And it's actually a really interesting interplay because now we have Abatha up against the Vikings. And usually when you're playing Abatha, you're really trying to avoid too heavy team fights that are a bit too sustain heavy because you don't have that extra hit point pool in your midst. And if you're obviously going up against the Vikings, then, well, the Vikings will simply split onto the lanes and allow the 4-man to very heavily push, and that's putting a lot of pressure onto the Abatha team and might give them some real trouble in the early stages. If that automatically then leads to an early level 10 for the Vikings team, then they have a much better shot at going for the objective and getting an advantage there. It's also an interesting approach from Team Serbia to come in with Exterminate on level 1. They could go for mercenary camps much more aggressively now. Oh, but there's the first blood as Vecman gets caught and Rhaegar gets killed. The Germans jumping in and absolutely wrecking that there. But yes, as I was just about to say, with Reyna going for Exterminator, you could technically on a map like Cursed Hollow go and make some plays for bosses and try to dominate, well, may not dominate, but at least apply additional pressure through mercenary camps. So that's something that we could see here. And they picked the map. Team Serbia went for the map choice, so it's their map, and therefore this might have been the game plan. But you can already tell that now that we have that 4-man breaking through the mid lane, it's actually brutal. I mean, we have Tyrael assisting with that shield too, and then you have the inspired minions. They're jumping aggressively on Jimmy and take him down quickly. Jimmy is gone, that's 2 kills to 0, and Team Germany is already starting to pull ahead here. Keep in mind that we have a lot of prize money on the line for this, so there's $10,000, so it's really important for the teams to not take any silly risks. We've had this with tournaments in the past, where teams, when they're a bit ahead, you know, they get a little bit overconfident and they think that they can actually get away with some crazy stuff, and sometimes that's true, but we have seen a few of these also backfiring. I can pretty much guarantee that with $10,000 of prize money on the line, a lot of the teams will try to just try hard this as much as they can. Now, Team Serbia, they're up against a very strong opponent here from the get-go. If they're able to at least net themselves maybe a map, that would already be a win. Keep in mind, we have 7 groups with 4 teams in each group. And the way that this plays out is that we have a full round robin in every one of the groups. And then the first place advances to the next round of the tournament, to the second phase. But the second place still has a shot to advance as well in a last chance qualifier. So something to really keep in mind as we are going to start to progress through the groups and obviously the tournament itself. Top side, URL always trying to interrupt as the Vikings are applying additional pressure on the tributes. Tribute number 1, by the way. But with a fort in the middle already gone, Team Germany is pulling ahead here. I mean, they got 2 kills to 0. They have a level 7 talent that has already kicked in. And the passive experience gains that we're going to get from here on out for the blue team are, of course, another advantage that they're going to run. We got Adrenal Overlord for Abatha. So that means also a bit more attack speed, especially for Jimmy, who on level 4 went straight into the fight or flight. Last Hope on the account Cope, still with the Nubarak, looking at the side to see if he can maybe get another stun here. They might have to also guard Jimmy, because he gets attacked right away. Passive already triggering, but he's low, gets the fountain, and is able to escape. Abatha helping out too. Shots fired as they're going for the Dark Wolf, but a Nubarak in the corner. Lots of damage from Jimmy, but Tyrael jumps out, and the Nubarak is a bit too deep and gets caught before he can reach the safety of the fountain and the fort. Kill number 3 for the Germans. In the meantime, with level 7 talents kicking in, we get, of course, Mule, but it doesn't really seem like Abatha has a chance to use that at the bottom of the map, where we're now getting a fort destroyed. So, yep, this one taken out as well. Okay, Brightwing is taking over here. But yeah, that's the second fort already taken. And you can really tell that the Abatha team is having a bit of a problem keeping up with the Vikings and this aggressive 4-man that is pushing super heavily. And obviously that translates directly in a pretty big lead in experience, which means that once level 10 connects, you're in real trouble when you're on Team Serbia. It's a huge problem, because now the first boss is being taken. It's kind of difficult for Team Serbia to get their own, even with Exterminator on Jimmy, because they can't afford a team fight. And now that we have a level 10, that's of course even more so true. And from here on out, Team Germany should actually be using those 2 levels, that window that they bought themselves, to aggressively push for another boss, for another structure, maybe take that topside fort out, maybe push for a keep already. They definitely have the tools here, and they're using them right away. We also have a couple of nice combos that they can use from here on out. For example, Judgment straight into Hanzo's arrow would be a nice CC chain that they can execute. It's kind of funny, by the way, that Dainu has not chosen, and there's the bunker. Okay. Teasing for just a second that he's going to maybe take combustion. Actually, I always have to rack my brain a little bit, because I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what is that other talent called on level 10 for Blaze? Since absolutely nobody uses it. At least on a competitive play. If you want to meme around in quick match, of course, it's a bit of a different story. But the interesting part is here, you could actually make an argument that it's a bit of an IQ 200 play by Punisher picking Reyna and choosing Exterminator on level 1. That the goal wasn't to take bosses for yourself, but that you already expect that your opponent is getting the bosses and you're just trying to use it to defend properly. So that's one explanation of that. Balog goes down, top fort is also destroyed, and now this is where the real problem kicks in. They should be able to get the curse here. Well, or should they? Nope, because that was a pretty decent interrupt. Well done. Last Hope on an Uberak was able to get the stun out against Olaf, and that allows them to grab that tribute. So they will have their own level 10. The problem is, of course, that the rest of the German team has in the meantime pushed for the topside keep, already broken through the wall, and that's lots of advantages here. Red team, they do the only thing that really makes sense here. They are attacking right away when they hit level 10. They know that they are behind. They need something. Here comes Judgment. Rhaegar with the Ancestral. Right away, they're looking for kills, but they haven't found any yet. Dodging out the arrow on Hanzo, already an important part. And Nubarak with a copy and dives straight into the middle of nowhere with a stun. Oh, and real Anubarak goes down. That's a big hit too. They are losing their front line. Abathar still trying to do whatever he can. The Germans with level 13 now though, and that gives them another edge that they are trying to use here. The keep at the top is about to go down. Jimmy is dead. He's gone already. 5 kills to 0. We are 8 minutes into the game as the first keep falls, and Team Germany is relentlessly pressuring the red team and is getting one hit in after another. The Vikings are pushing the lanes in the meantime, getting additional experience for the blue team, helping them to pull even farther ahead. Tyrael alone on 15,000 damage. Jimmy is the top damage dealer in the game with 19,000, but they haven't been able to translate that into kills. The only ones that have fallen on the side of the blue team are a few of the Vikings. And they're taking another one down. They're at least trying. They're going for Eric, but he is a little bit too swift. 3-level advantage by now for the German team. As expected, they're coming in swinging with all the aggression that they can muster here. And I mean, it is a really stacked team that they have. Now the cursed hits. Once again, Judgment, this time on Uriel. Uriel jumping out. The arrow connects. Ultralisk able to hit the target this time. Vikings pushing down at the bottom of the map, but with the curse already in play, that just means that the red team is going to lose even more ground. And Uberak gets caught again and immediately swarmed by the players of the German team. Abathar in a bit of trouble here as well, is moving back as Jimmy falls. Mid lane attack, the bot lane obviously breaking through too. The entire minion wave already gone, and now the keep is getting murdered. The core already open as the Germans move towards the top, trying to take it out. Aggression on every single lane right now, and it just seems a matter of time until Team Germany pulls ahead with the 1-0 in the best of 3. Defense attempt at the bottom of the map now with an Ancestral kicking in on Uriel, but the red team is just desperately trying to somehow hold on here. The keep in the middle about to go down. Abathar with a copy again, but it's about to expire, and they might lose Jimmy too. The core is losing hit points and is losing them quickly, and that is gonna be game. 7 kills, 2-0 and a 5-level advantage as Team Germany takes the 1-0 in the best of 3 series. GG. I hope all of you guys are enjoying the Nations Cup. We have an epic event on hand right now, and it's tons of fun. But please keep in mind that events like the Nations Cup, like Meta Madness, the Bounty Cup, and many other tournaments that we've been running on the channel here to support Heroes Esports are only possible through either private supporters or campaigns that we have with partners on the channel. And right now, we have a campaign going on where you can support the channel for free and with a minimum of investor time. All that you got to do is download Opera GX, which is a browser that has an integrated VPN, has tons of themes and other features that are directly targeted at gamers. But if you download the browser through the link below and install it, maybe watch a video too on YouTube, watch a live stream, or just play around with it a little bit, that already is enough to support the channel here. I would really appreciate if you could take a few minutes of your time to do exactly that. As I said before, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything, and I've actually seen quite a few people that then even switched over because they prefer the browser to others. Be it as it may, if you want to support the channel, there's an easy way to do it. So thank you very much in advance and enjoy the rest of the show today. Battlefield of Eternity, map number 2. Team Germany, as expected, quite strong, and they just proved it. Going up against Team Serbia, who from the beginning were obviously the underdog in this. Team Germany is for sure the favorite in Group A, but very likely also one of the teams that will try and fight for the tournament victory here. Now, Battlefield of Eternity is our second map now. 10 heroes have been played and can therefore not be played again, limiting the pool a bit. Since we have in the first group stage only best of 3 games, this might matter on a third map, but it's highly unlikely to impact games too much just yet. Later when we're talking about best of 5 matches, that obviously shifts the equation just a little bit. But the Germans, they're coming in with a lot of pressure right now. So they are really doing... They're trying to make a statement here. They obviously want to get out of this group as first place. And with in total 28 teams signed up for this event, there will be some clear favorites. And the German team, Germany won. They are definitely one of them. In total, we have 3 German teams in the tournament, actually. But Thrall gets still banned. We have first pick, first ban, this time for Team Serbia. So they gave up map choice, which means that the blue team was actually the one to choose Battlefield of Eternity. And the first thing that we're going to get here is Sylvanas. But, yeah. Urel or Oriel coming in. And, interestingly enough, picked by Ultralisk. So, it could potentially be that we're seeing even a bit of a role swap on this one. Or, on the other hand, Death Knight is just not here yet, and they're picking and swapping then afterwards. But with the Dark Wolf instantly going for Vala, there's obviously 2 options on how they could play this. Either they could go for the standard arrow build on Battlefield of Eternity to play Monster Hunter on level 7, push out the damage against the Immortal and just win the race, with Vala stacking her level 1. Or they could simply decide that they're going for an auto attack build, use her as a hyper carry, and focus more on the team fights, try to win those first before they're then heading into the objective battle. With Muradin and Tirana taken from the Serbians, this is a little bit of a different story though, because right now we have not only a nice tool with Tirana and her Hunter's Mark to increase the damage against the Immortal, can of course easily apply that there, but traditionally when you're going for Muradin and Tirana, what you're really looking for is you want to take heroes down. You get that Stormbolt connected and you follow up with Tirana's stun, the CC chain comes in and then you dish out the damage. We see that oftentimes also with Varian, for example, with Taunt being utilized. But this could still be a very interesting one. The question is always, can you keep Tirana alive? She can be very, very tricky to play if there is a lot of mobility on the other team. If they can get close to her, she doesn't have the best defense, so positioning is everything. And the more heroes your opponent have that can jump on her, like let's say Genji, the trickier it gets. Tracer could be another one. So this is always a question of whether or not you can keep her alive. We've seen amazing Tirana performances where she really made the difference, but then we've also seen a lot of Tirana plays where she just couldn't get anything done because she was continuously chased throughout the fights, wasn't shielded enough, and then just died. She is still a bit on the squishy side. And we get Zarya. Oriel and Zarya, so it seems more and more like we're going to get a Vala solo range damage. And that could again mean that we have an auto attack style. So we'll see. Garrosh is obviously out, so you can't go into the Zarya and Garrosh combo. That's not a thing. But with Death Knight now on Zarya, this could still get interesting. They take the hammer. Okay, so now we have Sergeant Hammer for Team Serbia. And we get Stukov. Stukov Oriel. Yeah, this looks more and more like an auto attack Vala from the German team. Battlefield of Eternity, everybody. Our second map in the series. Team Germany is already ahead, so this is match point in our first best of 3 of Group A. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. map number 2. Team Germany is in the lead, and Team Serbia is trying to survive. Battlefield of Eternity is our second map, and over on the left side, we got Hazorps on Sonya, Dino and Stukov, the Dark Wolf with Vala, Death Knight is playing Zarya, and Ultralisk with the Righteous Assault is playing Oriel. And it is indeed an arrow build. Despite the fact that they're playing with a double support here, and Zarya behind it, they're going full arrow build right now, so they can be hyper aggressive with everybody on the team. Tons of sustain here for them, as Team Serbia is playing with Vecman on Tyrande. We got a Freak XL on Sylvanas, Punish on Sergeant Hammer, Rapt on Leoric, and Cope, aka Last Hope, is playing Muradin, the ex-Fnatic player here. Level 1 for Zarya, we got the Demolitions Expert. And for Stukov, we get the Fetid Touch. Whereas down at the bottom of the map, the hammer is already... that whip attempt from Ultralisk. Yeah, you might have a whip, my friend, but it's not that long. But, okay. So, Ultralisk tried, but yeah, it's a little bit more like it. There we go. So now he connects that hit. We'll see how many arrow stacks we're actually going to get on this one as well. Arrow build can obviously also in team fights be insanely impactful once that you have proper stacks here. And you get, for example, Acrobat. I mean, even previously when you have your level 4 talent. But Acrobat on level 20, you can really dish out so much damage against a single target. It is a bit crazy. We have still the Pinnacle quest here on the side of Sylvanas, obviously, with the Pinnacle reward. But we'll see how many stacks they're going to be able to get for that. If they are able to get themselves an Immortal, that would of course help a lot. But for now, it is the blue team that wins the camp down at the bottom of the map. Zoning Stormbolt from Muradin. And top side, we have our 1v1 now established between Sonya and Leoric. 13 stacks for Zarya, 3 for Vala. Usually for the first Immortal, it's not that much that Vala is able to contribute. I mean, she's still doing damage, don't get me wrong. But typically she doesn't have Monster Hunter yet. That's usually reserved for the second Immortal of the game. So for now, the mission is simple. Try and get some damage in at the bot lane. Help Vala stack with Zarya, and just push the opponent back as much as you can. And to be fair to them, they're already doing a great job here, trying to get the stun. Leo moving in, so it seems like the Serbian team decided they want to be aggressive, but they're losing. Tyrande and Muradin. Double kill against them. Nicely done by Team Germany. Leo rotated in, trying to make this a 5 versus 4. Went for the attack, but it backfired very quickly against the red team. They were aiming to go for Vala, and then all of a sudden they lose 2 of their heroes, and this obviously pressures the bot lane significantly. At this point, we're having the entire wall crushed already. The lead in experience has been extended a bit, as the blue team is now sitting at level 5 and is starting to threaten Muradin again. Forcing Last Hope, aka Cope, to move back, and oof. It's damage on the fort already. The Immortal hasn't even spawned yet. It's another 15 seconds until the first Bird Bell comes in. Zarya has gone for the defensing shielding, and shocking, I know, repeating arrow for Vala, who would have thought, as Ultralisk went for the majestic span with level 4. Nothing out of the ordinary for Team Serbia. The one thing to maybe point out is the regenerative biosteel. Usually that talent wasn't really taken a whole lot, and then it was Nick who first came in and started to use that occasionally and really try to adjust the builds a little bit with success. Quick stun, a bit more energy here for Zarya as well, as Death Knight moved straight into that. Halftime show obviously won for the blue team too. They want the 2-0 here. Anything else but a 2-0 victory for the German team would already be an upset. That would be totally crazy. The blue team is a big favorite in Group A, they're a favorite in the tournament, and they have to perform well here. These are the games that are supposedly easy, where they just need to farm points, make sure that they establish themselves at the top of Group A, and anything else would be an utter disappointment. So the Serbian team, nothing to lose here, and that's what makes them maybe dangerous. We have a bit of damage over on the right side, but everybody is a little bit low, and the problem is that Tyrande is also running out of mana. Sergeant Hammer is getting caught here as well, whereas the German team has now finalized the Immortal. We have 9 stacks for Vala, and they're hitting that level 7 talent just in time for the push through the top lane that's obviously going to hit now. So with 2 kills to 0, the question is simply how much damage can they do here. Sonya has at the bottom of the map the assistance of the mercenary camp. So we have Shamans pushing through that. And topside, with one tower already gone, there's a huge chance that the Germans are going to get good damage in on that fort. And if they can pressure the heroes enough, who knows, they might force them back and even get the entire thing. Sonya is pushing aggressively at the bottom of the map, and Leoric is in trouble. Leoric is actually hearthing, if I see this correctly. So this allows Sonya to potentially take the bottom fort, and they're aggressive at the top too. So this is trouble brewing. The Dark Wolf is getting out, but barely. That was close. And there was quite a bit of luck involved here too. So 2 kills to 0, and they have still a level advantage. The fort is gone, and this top lane, the Germans are just absolutely smashing it. Talking about smashing things, Sonya smashed the fort at the bottom of the map, so that means that 2 forts are now gone. We're 5 minutes into the game, and the blue team has already pulled ahead very aggressively here. Taking 2 forts down, now being forced into that fight though. And can the Serbians get a kill here? Thus far, it doesn't quite look like it. Quest completed. Vala still looking for some additional arrow connects, and they're just sieging up on this. The whole idea of picking Zarya and all that sustain is that they want to apply pressure. They want to stay on lane. They don't want to go back. They just want to really apply as much pressure as they can, force mistakes out of the Serbian team. And honestly, it's a great strategy for the Germans. They are the ones that have the tournament experience. They are the ones that have been playing this game just relentlessly, even after HGC went down. And they are now coming in and applying pressure to an opponent that they perceive to be weaker, and that clearly doesn't have as much competitive experience. And they are using this by just sieging up and forcing mistakes. It allows them to take the topside keep out immediately, and they're just continuing with that push straight for the core now, allowing more time for Sonya at the bot lane too, who now starts to move towards the top. A little bit of a shortcut attempt here, and that might actually backfire, but barely able to get out. Hazu still alive, but in need of healing for sure. Moved straight through the keep and the middle towards the top, and there they slam Sylvanas into the ground. They're really trying to get him here. They have level 10 abilities, and even the talents picked are already telling you what they are trying to do. Resurrect is in for Oriel, so even if they lose one of the heroes, they're going to be fine. They're going for an absolute speedrun on this one. Moving in for the attack. Nice ult from Zarya, and Team Serbia. No ults, no nothing. Tyrande down, Muradin dead, Leo gone, but the kill against Hazorbs. Finally kill for the Serbian team, but it might be too little too late, as we have the big attack against the core, dropping down to 40% already. The Germans unstoppable over here as they claim victory in the best of 3 series and in this first match of Group A at the Nations Cup 2026. GG.